You ever wonder why some videos just take off while others seem to stall out? Well, the secret isn't luck. It's something called the YouTube retention engine. And in this explainer, we're going to show you exactly how to crack that code by mastering the single most important metric on the entire platform, audience retention. I mean, we've all been there, right? You pour everything you have into a video, it gets a handful of views, and then just nothing. But then you see another video, maybe on the same topic, and it just explodes out of nowhere. What is going on?
Well, it turns out it's not some secret handshake with the algorithm. It's actually a system, a really predictable one, that we're calling the algorithmic retention loop. You can think of it as this hidden engine that's deciding right now if your video is going to sink or soar.
So here's the game plan. We've broken it down into 5 key parts. First, we'll look at the algorithm's secret engine. Then, we'll talk about how to survive those first crucial 30 seconds. After that, we unlock the viral threshold. Then we'll show you how to become a gateway drug for viewers. And finally, we'll give you your very own retention playbook. Okay, let's dive right in. Look, if you want to win the YouTube game, you have to know how the rules are written. And rule number 1 might surprise you. YouTube doesn't actually watch your videos.
Yeah, the algorithm could not care less about your fancy new camera or how funny your jokes are. It doesn't watch content. It watches people. It watches our behavior. So when someone watches your video all the way to the end, it sends this incredibly powerful signal to the system that says, hey, this is good stuff. And that signal, well, that's the key that starts the whole retention engine. And what's so fascinating about this slide is that it basically marks the death of old school SEO hacking. Just imagine 2 videos, right? Video A has 1 million views, but people dip out after 30 seconds. Video B only has 10,000 views, but everyone watches to the end. Which one do you think the algorithm is going to push? You got it. Video B. Viewer satisfaction is absolutely king now. So now that we kind of get how the algorithm thinks, let's talk about the first 30 seconds of your video. Because this isn't just an intro, oh no. It's a fight for your video's life. We call this the survival window. You have literally 30 seconds to convince a brand new viewer that your video is worth their time. If you fail right here, nothing else you do in the video even matters. The algorithm just sees people clicking away, and it'll bury your video for good. And here's why that window is so critical. The data shows that if you can just keep a viewer for those first 30 seconds, they are 80% more likely to watch the entire video. So if you win this initial battle, you've pretty much won the war for their attention. Okay, so how do you master the hook? Well, first off, deliver on your promise immediately. If your title is How to Bake the Perfect Cake, I better see that perfect cake in the first few seconds. Second, you want to create what are called open loops. Ask a really compelling question or create a little mystery and then promise to solve it at the end. That's the stuff that keeps people glued to the screen. All right, so you've hooked them. They're watching past that 30-second mark. Now, how do we turn that engagement into explosive viral growth? Turns out it all comes down to one magic number. 70%, that is the magic number. You see, hitting a 50 to 60% average view duration, that's good. That'll give you solid, steady growth. But crossing the 70% threshold, that's what separates the good videos from the ones that go supernova. This is the viral zone. And this chart just lays it out perfectly. Stay below 60%, you get predictable, steady growth. But the moment you cross that 70% line, the algorithm doesn't just give you a little boost. It gives you an exponential one. It starts pushing your video to everybody. So here's the chain reaction. You hit 70% retention, which signals to YouTube that viewers are extremely satisfied. That triggers the algorithm to push your video out to new, lookalike audiences. And if they like it too, boom, you go viral. It really is that simple. But look, going viral once is great. It's not the whole story, though. If you want to build real long-term authority on the platform, you have to do more. You need to become what we call YouTube's gateway drug. At the end of the day, YouTube has one goal and one goal only: keep people on the platform longer so they can show them more ads. If your content helps them do that, the algorithm rewards your entire channel with this massive authority boost. You know those last 20 seconds of your video? That's your golden ticket. Because if a viewer finishes your video and then clicks on an end screen to watch another one, and it doesn't even have to be yours, you get what's called a session continuation bonus. You've just become YouTube's best friend. This is the message you're sending the algorithm. You're screaming,
I'm not just a one-hit wonder. I am a binge-worthy creator. And that is how you land in that coveted watch next sidebar, which is really the holy grail for consistent long-term growth. So, the most important part is knowing exactly what to aim for. Let's pull all this together into a super simple playbook. To win this game, you just gotta know your numbers. Here it is, your new playbook. Master that 30-second hook to survive. Aim for 50 to 60% retention for solid, reliable growth. And then push for that 70% threshold to unlock your viral potential. Honestly, these are the only numbers that really matter. Ultimately, the bottom line is this. A single viewer watching your video all the way to completion is worth more than 1,000 people who click away after a few seconds. That one completed view is the fuel. It's what powers the entire YouTube recommendation engine, and it's what can turn your channel into a sensation.
So, just remember, the end of your video isn't actually the end. It's the beginning of a feedback loop that can launch your channel into the stratosphere. So the only question left is, what are you going to create next?